mindfulness practices is just like brushing your teeth. You have to do this without questioning every day, maybe a couple of times in a day, and you just have to continue until see the real benefits. My name is Zeliha Stephanie Roesler, and I will be talk about mindfulness under the name of living in the moment today. And before we start talking about what mindfulness is and how can we adapt this into our lives, I would like to try just a 1-minute exercise with you to just have an idea, because I believe that some of us might not even try mindfulness ever in their lives. So just as a heads up, we can try just a little mindfulness before we start. So if you're feeling comfortable, you can gently close your eyes. And if you don't prefer closing your eyes, just look somewhere around your feet and slowly focus on your breath. You don't have to push your breath. You don't have to make it slower, faster, or deeper. Just observe it. Start realizing the noises around you. Maybe the sound of the wind or the cars. Realize the smell of the room. Realize your thoughts, your current emotions. And take a deep breath in and breathe out. And once you feel ready, slowly open your eyes. Welcome back again. And this was just a simple and basic example of mindfulness. And I believe that at some moments you might start focusing on your emotions, or maybe stressful events in your current life, or maybe something coming from the background as a noise, or something else. So sometimes just focusing on your breaths, even just for a moment, can be difficult and challenging. So just before explaining the mindfulness, I just wanted to give a heads up about this, and we will discuss the details of these difficulties in the coming slides. And before we do that, I would like to start with what is mindfulness? So mindfulness is basically a state of awareness about what are we doing and where are we doing at the current moment, with giving our full attention into our internal and external surroundings. And while doing this, like giving our full attention and focus into the surroundings, according to mindfulness, we should stop judging those things. And we simply observe and accept everything that's happening around us. This can be something in feeling, something happening around us, something happening in your daily life. But in other words, it's just simply accepting them without a judgment and without the overreaction. And this is basically the scientific literature of mindfulness. And I know mindfulness became quite popular in the recent years, actually. So I would like to just give a general idea where does it come from and what's the differences of the oldest version of mindfulness and the current version of it. So actually the Buddhist people are the first people who start talking about and experiencing the benefits of mindfulness. They simply say that mindfulness is seeing things how they really are, and they experience this with focusing on their internal experiences. Means that they start focusing on their emotions, their psychological and physiological changes at the current moment, and they start practicing this with teaching their attention how to do this. And one maybe simple differences from the current view is they also practice different things under the name of mindfulness. In other words, we can say that according to the Buddhist people, mindfulness is just like an umbrella term, and attention part is just one practice of it. And they also practice so many ethical practices as a part of mindfulness for morality and also for wisdom. But in current view, the Western view of mindfulness can be different rather than the Buddhist view, because just like we did at the first slide, we mostly focus on the attention part and teaching the attention how to observe and how to accept, but we are basically closing our eyes to the ethical part of it. In current view, we are mostly teaching ourselves how to use our attention in the healthy way. And also, opposite to the Buddhist perspective, we are not only focusing on the internal, but also the external experiences. And while I was saying internal, I'm referring to emotions, feelings, and memories of ours as our internal experiences. And while I was saying external, I'm referring to the noises, smells, and the texture of our clothes as the external experiences. So in the Western perspective, we're trying to understand and accept all of them internally and externally. And especially after the Western perspective, the Western psychology try to understand and accept the benefits of mindfulness and start using this as a therapy technique in the scientific literature. And especially after the 60s, two main therapy techniques developed according to the mindfulness, which are the mindfulness-based stress reduction and mindfulness-based cognitive behavioral therapy. And after the psychology field, also the medical field starts using mindfulness as a proof of something, as a proof of a positive thing, actually, because they start observing the people in the research who practice mindfulness for a while. And after a while, they also suggest that according to neuroimaging studies, they reported less activation in amygdala. And amygdala is one of the main parts in our brain that's responsible from the fear reduction. So less activation in amygdala means that we became calmer because our automatic fear response and anxiety response became decreased after the mindfulness. And the research also showed this as an evidence, which is really important because it can also reflect in our behaviors to the ability of self-regulation, self-awareness, adaptive problem-solving skills, and also other type of adaptive behaviors. So we can say that there is a reach between all this, like starting from the Buddhist perspective and coming from the medical field, and also in our everyday life, they all connected with bridges, we can say. And everything that I'm saying sounds great, sounds perfect, but there is this one question actually: why isn't it working? Because we might all hear all these informations, how mindfulness is so beneficial, how helpful to our everyday life. But there is also this one saying that, oh, I try mindfulness, it doesn't work for me. I just stopped trying to be mindful because I think it's not for me. So why isn't it working? Many people grow a frustration towards mindfulness because the main thing about this, they still expect from something from the mindfulness rather than simply just accepting it how it is. So because mindfulness actually is not a magic pill. It cannot change everything just in a second like this. And the thing that people just forget, mindfulness practices is just like brushing your teeth. You have to do this without questioning every day, maybe a couple of times in a day, and you just have to continue until see the real benefits. But sometimes people might just accept the best result or the fastest result from just one mindfulness practices, and after that, which is really common and normal, they just got frustrated because they cannot get what they really want because they're still expecting from something from mindfulness, which is really common, and especially in some personality traits and life states, we can say, some characteristics are more likely to expect from something from mindfulness and get frustrated after it. So I would like to give some examples also from the relations of this personality traits with mindfulness, and one of them is perfectionism. Perfectionism is a personality trait that have high level of self-criticism and self-evaluation in a critical way. And perfectionist people mainly focus on controlling and changing something according to their rights and wrongs, which is just the opposite thing, actually, what mindfulness say. So every time, not maybe every time, but most of the time, if a perfectionist try to do mindfulness, they got easily frustrated because they expect the best results and the fastest way, which is not going to happen, like I said before. So they just quit trying mindfulness. However, according to the research, if you're a perfectionist, and if you continue to try mindfulness over and over again, after a while, they also reported decreased anxiety and increased unconditional self-acceptance, which are the main problems of being perfectionist, actually. So with the help of mindfulness, actually, if you're a perfectionist, it can help your everyday life in the long run, we can say. And other than perfectionist, I would also like to point out one different situation. We cannot call this in a characteristics, but maybe a state, life state, we can say. And this is loneliness. And I'm pretty sure from time to time we all feel lonely, and we might also describe ourselves as lonely. So loneliness is a common thing in our society, we can say. And according to the research, it's a significant risk factor for poor both psychological and physiological health in the long run, because it can easily affect your social relations, and it can also lead social isolation. And social isolation can have a really big cause to mental health problems such as depression. So starting from the loneliness, I also would like to point out the relation between mindfulness. Because just like with the perfectionist person, if the lonely person also continue to practice mindfulness, they also start seeing benefits in the long run. Mindfulness help them to understand what they really like and what they will not like, and which type of people they prefer or which type of people they not prefer, with accepting everything about themselves and accepting everything about the society, basically, and observing what they enjoy and not enjoy. So all these abilities that they grow with mindfulness also help to improve social relationships, improve communication, and mental and physical health in the long run, because understanding which type of social group you would like and not like also affect your social relationships quality and the communications quality, we can say. And these are only the two examples of it, but I know, and I guess you also know, that there are hundreds of thousands of personality types. And the important part is, how can everyone adopt mindfulness, and why should everyone adopt mindfulness? So I also said this a couple of times during the slides, but there are so many research that show that there's a positive relation between being mentally well and being mindful. So one can affect the other in a positive way, we can say, because like I said before, mindfulness is simply observing and accepting without judging anything. So if you just observe everything in your day-to-day life and accept both negative events and positive events, this can lead positive emotions in the long run. So this can also decrease the negative emotions and stress hormones as well. And with positive emotions and with this acceptance, they also start improve your social relations and social connections, like I said, at the loneliness part. And other than this, the idea of accepting everything, not just about the external world, it's also about the internal world. You also start accepting your negative sides, your challenges, your difficulties in life, and you understand that having positive and negative things in your life is the normal way of living life. So this can also increase your self-acceptance, self-regulation, and also increase your self-esteem with having everything inside you, we can say. So that's actually one of the main reasons why should everyone adapt mindfulness, we can say. And I believe it all sounds great, but the main point is how can we adopt mindfulness? This is the main question. The important point is no one's accepting from anyone basically to just sit somewhere and do a meditation for an whole hour in the first try, because it's not possible and it's also not sound possible. So the main point is you should start with baby steps, and just remember baby steps are also steps, and like trying these little steps, you can also improve your practice in the long run. It can grow habits, and you can also grow a habit with practicing mindfulness, and who knows, one day you might just sit for an whole hour doing meditation and it can be your hobby even. And while I was saying micro practices, you can start with, for example, mindful eating and mindful walking. These are the basic and most general examples of mindfulness, but sometimes people just focus on the attention part. And when someone said mindfulness practice, someone can immediately think that, oh, I have to be meditate, I have to sit somewhere and close my eyes and just think about my thoughts. And actually, this is not the case. Meditation is not the only example of mindfulness. So you can always try interesting things, you can always try new things, and mindful eating and mindful walking is just the two examples of them. And while I was saying mindful eating, I actually tried to say that while you are eating something, just try to understand the taste. You don't have to even name it, just try to understand the taste, the feeling of the bite that you're chewing, the way that you're chewing. You can try to do it in slower way, and also try to listen your body, how it became full, how it became hungry, or when it became full and when it became hungry. These all actually start realizing your internal experiences according to the food actually. And mindful walking is actually just a so similar example with mindful eating. You're simply just walking around, and it can be somewhere basically. You can just walk in your room, you can just walk in your garden, you can just walk in a park, and it can be in any time of the day. You can just start focusing your internal experiences, which are your emotions, your thoughts, like what are you thinking at the moment, what are you feeling, what are you needing at the moment. And at the same time, you can also start focusing on the external surrounding of yours. Like if you're walking in a park, you can simply observe the trees, the colors of the trees, the noises coming from the background, from the animals, from the people, from the car. Try to understand the texture of your clothes, the smell of the air maybe. And these all can be part of the mindful walking. And it can only take up couple of minutes, like I drove them, and the other examples too. Like you don't have to just be somewhere and try to do something for hours and hours. And you can just give yourself a couple of minutes every day and start trying to these exercises. And I'm pretty sure that everyone can find one mindful exercise which they like and enjoy. And after that, they can grow their habits into it. And before closing this presentation, I also would like to try one more mindfulness exercise. I'll leave this to the end because it's a bit longer exercise, and I will guide this exercise via reading a mindfulness script. The name of it is Eye of the Hurricane. So if you would like to try again, just like I said at the beginning, just simply close your eyes again. Find a comfortable sitting position. Let your hands rest in your lap. And let's take 3 deep, slow breaths. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Lastly, breathe in. And breathe out. Continue to focus on your breath. Become aware of your body. Notice your feet on the floor. Notice your clothes. And now, let's consider a metaphor. Within the strong, turbulent winds of a hurricane, the eye, the center of the hurricane, is always quiet. There is no wind and no movement there. For a moment, picture this idea in your mind. Can you visualize the strong, turbulent winds of hurricane and the inner core that is peaceful and just quiet? And in this exercise, let's see if you can become like the center of the hurricane. Your current circumstances, your thoughts, your feelings, these all can be compared to the winds of hurricane. But is it possible for you to let go all of those things just for a moment so that you are no longer taking part in them? Just like the center of the hurricane. To do this, continue to focusing on your breath. Just like the eye is deep within the hurricane, your eye is deep within you. Use your breath to connect to this part of you. Simply breathe in and breathe out. If anything stressful happens in this moment, such as negative thoughts, unpleasant feelings, annoying sounds, difficult life events, or maybe just negative memories, try to look at them as if they are the turbulent wind of the hurricane, just wandering around, continually changing, unpredictable in nature. Notice that you are not one of them. You are the silent center of the hurricane, the part that is peaceful despite what's happening around you. You are the silent center of the hurricane, peaceful and silent. You are not reacting. You are simply observing. Like the wind of the hurricane, these experiences are constantly moving and changing. You, on the other hand, are stable. You are not moving or being carried away by them. As you're breathing, notice how you move more and more towards the center of the hurricane, towards the eye. Just like the turbulent wind of the hurricane, your thoughts, your feelings, and whatever is happening outside yourself is still going on, but you're no longer part of it. You're in a safe, peaceful place. Breathe in and breathe out. As you sit here, connected to the eye, continue to notice whatever arises. Notice the wind of the hurricane, but do not participate. Stay in the eye. Notice the thoughts. Notice feelings. Notice the sensations. Continue to watch the ever-changing nature of the world inside and outside you. Watch from a distance, with curiosity and without judgment, without reacting to what you see. No matter how intense or bad the hurricane gets, the eye is always centered, calm and safe. Whenever you feel you need to restore your inner peace, use your breath to connect to this silent part of yourself. Just breathe in and breathe out. It can be difficult to see the eye of the hurricane at times. And sometimes we forget the eye is there. However, it's always there. If we examine closely enough, even the strongest, darkest hurricane, sooner or later, will see the eye, centered and safe. And now, when you feel ready, gently open your eyes. Welcome back, everyone.